Firstly, India's deadliest fighter jet, the Tejas Mk2, is gearing up for first flight. Secondly, IAF edges closer to $40 billion, biggest ever defense deal for 114 Rafale. Thirdly, an Indian company will build 60-ton monster airships. Next, is it game over for Sukhoi 57 in India? We've got all the biggest updates on the Indian Air Force lined up for you, so stay with us. Is the Indian Air Force on the verge of its biggest defense boost in decades? Is India's latest fighter jet, the Tejas Mk2, just one step away from a historic first flight? After years of development, the HAL has confirmed that the final assembly of the first prototype is progressing on schedule, bringing the Indian Air Force closer to fielding a powerful new multi-role fighter jet. The Tejas Mk2 is like Virat Kohli in a run chase. Everyone's already celebrating the century before the innings has even started. So when is the actual first flight, and what makes the Tejas Mk2 so different from the current Tejas Mk1A? Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has provided one of the clearest updates yet on the Tejas Mk2 program. Speaking to Flight Global during the 2026 Farnborough International Air Show in the United Kingdom, HAL Chairman and Managing Director Ravi Kumar confirmed that structural integration of the aircraft is underway, with the maiden flight now expected to take place sometime between March and July 2027. This is the most definitive timeline announced so far and marks an important transition for this program, from years of designing and development into crucial phase of live flight testing. Compared with the Mk1A, the Tejas Mk2 is significantly larger and more capable. Its maximum takeoff weight is expected to increase from 13.5 tons to 17.5 tons, allowing the jet to carry substantially more fuel and weapons. While Tejas Mk1A has 8 hard points, the Tejas Mk2 will have 13, again allowing greater number of missiles. I'm sure that Pakistani and Chinese trolls have started panicking, so let's remind them that despite their crying on social media, the Indian Air Force is actually ranked third most powerful in the world after India's war victory over Pakistan last year.
The Prime Minister of Pakistan would have died if it were not for my involvement.
The first Tejas Mk2 prototype will not immediately demonstrate the aircraft's full combat capabilities. Instead, it will focus on validating the fighter's aerodynamic performance, propulsion systems, integrated avionics, and digital fly-by-wire flight control system. Once these critical parameters are successfully verified, additional prototypes are expected to join the test campaign, accelerating certification and then development and deployment. Powering this new fighter aircraft will be the GE Aerospace's F414 turbofan engine, capable of producing around 98 kilonewtons of thrust. That represents a significant jump over the GE F404 engine powering the Tejas Mk1As, improving acceleration, climb performance, payload capacity, and the overall mission flexibility. One of the most noticeable visual changes is the addition of close-coupled canards positioned ahead of the aircraft's delta wings. These aerodynamic surfaces are designed to generate additional lift, improve agility during high-angle maneuvers, and maintain excellent flight characteristics, despite the aircraft's increased size and heavy weapons load. Inside the cockpit, the Tejas Mk2 will feature one of the most advanced avionics suites ever developed for an Indian fighter aircraft. Its primary sensor is expected to be the indigenous Uttam Active Electronically Scanned Array, or the ASAR radar, offering long-range target detection, simultaneous tracking of multiple threats, and strong resistance to electronic jamming. The aircraft is also expected to integrate infrared search and track, or IRST system, for passive target detection, along with unified electronic warfare suite to improve survivability even in contested environments.
We struck 11 of their airfields.
The Tejas Mk2 is also being designed as a genuine multi-role combat aircraft. It is expected to conduct air superiority missions, precision ground strikes, suppression of enemy air defenses, maritime strike operations, and reconnaissance missions. This places the aircraft in direct competition with several internationally recognized 4.5 generation fighters, including the F-16, the Saab Gripen, Dassault Rafale, and of course Boeing FA-18 Super Hornet. What if the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force could transport 60 tons of defense payload to remote Himalayan outpost without a runway, without a road, and without risking vulnerable supply convoys. This futuristic capability may now be one step closer. India has signed a landmark agreement with a French-Canadian aerospace company to jointly develop and manufacture advanced heavy-lift airships in India. Such giant aircraft could transform Indian military logistics and strategic mobility. But what exactly makes this project so important? Indian defense manufacturer Bharat Forge has signed a memorandum of understanding with French-Canadian aerospace pioneer Flying Whales to jointly develop, manufacture and field LCA-60T heavy-lift airship for India's defense and strategic requirements. The agreement was signed during Farnborough International Airshow 2026 in the United Kingdom with Guru Biswal, CEO of Aerospace at Bharat Forge, and Sebastian Bogon, President of Flying Whales, overseeing the signing. In an official statement, Bharat Forge stated that the partnership will jointly develop, manufacture and field advanced airships tailored for Indian military's operational needs. More importantly, the collaboration aims to establish manufacturing, integration and a long-term aerospace ecosystem inside India. Calling the partnership a game-changing step, Amit Kalyani, Vice Chairman and Joint Managing Director of Bharat Forge, stated, "Airships will redefine how nations move, supply and sustain their forces, and India will lead that change." He added that the partnership would place India among a select group of nations capable of designing, building and operating indigenous heavy-lift airships by combining Flying Whales technology with Bharat Forge's 6 decades of engineering excellence. Flying Whales has expressed similar confidence. Chief Executive Officer Tanguy Lestine stated that Bharat Forge's engineering depth and defense experience make it the ideal strategic partner to scale this program, adding that the companies intend to build in India and for the world, laying the foundation for an airship industry that could serve the region for decades to come. So why are these airships attracting so much attention? The LCA-60T is unlike a conventional cargo aircraft. It is a helium-filled rigid airship measuring approximately 200 meters in length and 50 meters in diameter, containing nearly 180,000 cubic meters of helium. It can transport up to 60 tons of cargo either inside its massive 96-meter cargo bay or suspended beneath the aircraft. But perhaps its biggest advantage is this: it does not need a runway. The LCA-60T can take off and land vertically from unprepared ground while hovering over delivery site to load or unload cargo. This means that heavy equipment, vehicles, radar systems, engineering machinery, or even ammunition can be delivered directly to remote frontline areas where conventional transport aircraft simply cannot operate. So could this become a major advantage for Indian Armed Forces? India's most sensitive frontiers, including sectors along the LAC with Tibet or China and the LOC with Pakistan, lie across some of the world's most challenging mountain terrain. Maintaining logistics in these regions remains difficult, expensive and dependent on weather. A heavy-lift airship capable of operating without roads or airstrips could dramatically improve the movement of supplies to forward military bases. The platform also offers far more than cargo transport. Reports suggest it could support intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance or ISR missions, serve as airborne communications relay and provide long endurance monitoring over border regions and coastlines. Our news report on India-China tensions was ranking among the top 5 in Google News videos. I am Shobit Vittal. Subscribe to Inconnect News for the most informative news content. Its hybrid electric propulsion system would use multiple electric propellers powered by batteries and turbine generators, with future plans to transition towards hydrogen fuel cells. The airship has an estimated top speed of about 100 km per hour and can operate at altitudes around 3,000 meters while carrying its full payload. What if the Indian Air Force is just weeks away now from securing the biggest fighter jet defense deal ever? Could this deal take India's Rafale fleet to beyond 200 aircraft, enough to overwhelm Pakistan or take on China? in any future conflict. If this deal goes through, Pakistan's defense planners may need less caffeine and more therapy. But there's a catch. While France is expected to respond to India's official request for 114 Rafale within days now, tough negotiations over sensitive technology, source code and indigenous weapons integration could determine whether this landmark deal actually moves forward. So is India set to finalize the $40 billion biggest fighter jet deal in global history, or are the biggest hurdles still ahead? Let's quickly find out. According to defense officials quoted by ANI, France has sought time until mid-August to respond to India's official letter of request, or LOR, submitted in May 2026 for the proposed government-to-government purchase of 114 Rafale. Once France submits its response, both sides are expected to begin formal negotiations on pricing and technology transfer. Pakistan probably feels like a bowler who finally got Rohit Sharma out, only to see Virat Kohli or Vaibhav Suryavanshi walk in next. Under the current plan, 94 of the 114 Rafale fighters would be manufactured in India by Dassault Aviation in partnership with an Indian defense company, while the remaining 20 fighter jets would arrive from France in a fly-away or a combat-ready condition. But why is India pursuing such a massive defense deal? The answer lies in the Indian Air Force's rapidly shrinking fighter strength. The Indian Air Force currently operates only 29 fighter squadrons, far below the authorized strength of 42 squadrons for any potential two-front war involving both Pakistan and China simultaneously. The retirement of aging MiG-21s, MiG-29s, Jaguars and Mirage 2000s, combined with delays in induction of the indigenous LCA Tejas Mk2s and future Tejas Mk2s, has further increased this urgency. The Indian Air Force and Indian Navy have already ordered 62 Rafale aircraft combined. Adding another 114 fighters would take the total to 176 Rafale. Moreover, the Indian Navy has already indicated its intention to procure 31 additional Rafale marine fighters, potentially taking India's total Rafale inventory to more than 200 aircraft. The Defense Acquisition Council cleared the Indian Air Force's proposal more than 4 months ago. However, the negotiations are far from straightforward. Two major technology-related issues have emerged as critical sticking points. The first concerns the Rafale's advanced RBE-2 Active Electronically Scanned Array, or AESA radar. According to this news report in defense.in portal, the intellectual property rights of this radar remain with French defense company Thales, limiting India's ability to independently modify or replace this radar system. The second, and perhaps even more sensitive issue, involves the Rafale's highly classified source code. Often described as the aircraft's digital brain, this software controls the mission computers, sensor fusion, and the highly capable Spectra electronic warfare suite. France considers this software a strategic national asset and has been reluctant to provide unrestricted access. Our news report on India-Pakistan tensions was ranking among the top 5 in Google News videos. I am Shobhit Mittal. Do subscribe to Inconnect News for the most informative news content. Without sufficient software access, India would remain dependent on the original manufacturer, and this could lead in delays. That means that advanced defense systems such as Astra Beyond Visual Range Missile or the Rudram Anti-Radiation Missile could not simply be integrated independently on the jet. So instead of demanding the complete source code, India is now reportedly seeking a middle ground by seeking access to the Interface Control Document, or the ICD. Although this does not reveal the sensitive software itself, the ICD provides the technical interface needed for engineers to integrate new weapons on the jet, adapt aircraft hardware, and develop compatible pylons and electronic connections. Leave a comment, hit the like button, and subscribe to Inconnect News.